Morning everyone, welcome back to my page. My name is Doris and you're watching My Savage Homestead. As you can see, I'm at the gate of my garden. It is June 2nd and I am going to give you a tour of my vegetable garden for June 2025. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what I've got going on inside. At the end of my garden on the perimeter, I have my cantaloupes growing here. They look really good right now. And if you can tell, I've got one there. I've got one there. And then I got a couple other ones down here in the soil, laying down in the soil. So those are my cantaloupes. And then these are my two 40-foot by 6-foot long beds. These are up high. These are 3 feet high. So it makes gardening easier for me. I had all my broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and garlic in here and took out all the fall plants and I started planting pumpkins. All the way down I got pumpkins starting to form. I just planted these about 2 weeks ago, and these are for my pig. It's for Lily and Wilbur. So this will get them through the winter. I'll be growing a lot of pumpkins. And once they overspill, they can go in this walkway and then over to the other side. And this used to be my onion bed and my carrot bed. This was also my fall. I do my fall in these 2 long beds because these hoops that I have here, I'm able to cover them quickly if we get a cold snap, a freeze. I don't garden in any of the other beds in the fall. I just concentrate on these 2 long beds in the fall. I tried it before and it was just a booger trying to cover every single bed when we got a freeze. We got a freeze for 6 days, 6 degrees, and we got snow, which is odd for South Central Texas. But I learned after that, trying to cover all those beds way over there, to just concentrate on these 2 beds in the fall. So this is my chard that's sitting in the middle of this bed. I was going to take it out and transplant it somewhere else. Chard grows year-round here, but it looks too healthy. I don't want to disturb the root system, so I went ahead and left this in the middle of my 40-foot bed. But I planted sweet potato slips in here, and there's 9 on this side, and there's 70 on this side. And these are my sweet potato slips. I started these myself in January from 2 sweet potatoes. And I ended up getting over 84 slips, and I still have about 9 in my windowsill in my kitchen. So those, as soon as the root system gets a little more vigorous, I can plant it out here. But these are the sweet potatoes, and pretty soon this is just going to be a jungle of sweet potato ivy. So we're going to move down. I'm going to stay on one side, and then I'll go over to the other side. We have a drive path in the middle, so my husband can get his tractor through, and that allows him to come all the way down, and then he can go into the orchard. So this isn't wasted space. This is a necessity for us to get all of our equipment in. So we have a drive in the middle of my vegetable garden. So this is my corn. As you can tell, it tasseled already, and I've got ears coming on everywhere. I did a video. This area right here used to be 12 swimming pools. It was a big mistake I made in my garden. We removed them and we put in 12-foot long by 3-foot wide beds. I have 4 in here, and I'm going to put 2 more here. But as of now, I got 4, and I have corn growing in the 4 beds right now. And then these 2 beds here, these were donated to me from my daughter. She was trying to do a garden in her backyard, and she's got 3 little ones and 2 or 4-year-old twin girls, and the girls kept removing her plants from her raised bed, so she ended up just giving up on that for now until they get a little older. But she donated these to me, and I'll find a place for them. I just haven't figured out where I'm going to put them yet. And then we move on the side of the corn. And here you're going to see 3 beds of green beans. Now in my green beans, I have a squash plant. I have a cantaloupe. What had happened was I had porcupines last year in my garden. We didn't know what was eating my cantaloupes and pumpkins and watermelons, shredding my corn. They didn't leave any footprints. So we ended up setting a trap, and we caught 3 porcupines. And I never saw porcupines out here this far, but apparently we got lots of porcupines. But anyway, this is my green beans all the way down. These are bush green beans. And I think, yeah, see, I got green beans starting on here. So that's a nice surprise this morning. They finally started to produce. So I got 5 beds of that, and then there's my corn again. And then in these beds here, I have 6 4-foot beds. I planted okra, and okra is starting to pop up. And then the 2 beds on the end, I haven't done anything to. They still have weeds in it. I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. I was going to do carrots. But it's getting a little too hot for that, and they're not going to germinate well. So I don't know what I'm going to put in there yet. Okay, so we're going to turn around. These are the green beans. Those are all potatoes. I have 11 bed of potatoes, all different kinds. They have been hilled with hay, and I did this year remember to put sticks with the names of them on there. And I'm having a problem right now with Bermuda grass. I don't know where it came from, but I pull them out every week, and then in a week it's just right back to this. So if anybody has any ideas on how to kill my Bermuda grass without hurting the plant or disturbing the soil nutrients, give me a message in my DM, and then hopefully that'll help me out. They're starting to die down, especially this one. This one was like an 85 day, and we're in like 92 right now. These are red Norlands, and as you can see, I started pulling some of them out because the plant died. And when the plant dies, that tells me my potatoes are ready. And there's my red potatoes. So I'll have these red potatoes for dinner tonight. Now over here on the tail end of the potatoes, I have different types of tomatoes. I have slicer tomatoes, I have cherry tomatoes, and I have paste tomatoes to make my sauces. But over here on this side is just the slicers, and I misplanted one, I think, because I ended up with cherry tomatoes over here, and they're not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be over on the other side. But stuff happens. So let's go ahead and look at the tomatoes. So these here are my slicers. And as you can tell, I've got tomatoes already in there. Got a couple of them that are ready to go. Got a lot more just starting. Same here. It looks like, yep, I got a cherry tomato there. I'm experiencing new growth as I'm showing you this. I have tomatoes, and see, these are my paste tomatoes. So they're going to be coming in clusters. These are determinate. so that they're all going to come in at once. Some aren't and some are, and I don't remember what are. But these are the tomatoes. They look really, really healthy. I haven't experienced any blossom end rot this year, which is wonderful because I used pelleted gypsum this year. I put it around the plant when I first planted it, and then a month later I came back once it started flowering, and then I did another pelleted gypsum, and that should be good for the plant. I just need to come in every couple of weeks now and fertilize. So here on the end of this row, you can see my incubation room. I have baby turkeys in there right now. I incubate and hatch out all my turkeys and chickens and ducks. I do it all myself. I don't buy anymore. But at the tail end of it here, this used to be broccoli and cauliflower bed. I pulled these out a couple weeks ago, and I planted bush beans in here, bush green beans, and they're now starting to pop up. Still on the row, this side still. I got carrots on this side. I did a video on planting the carrots back in February and March. I think these are March. I did two different ones, one in February and one in March, so I can have carrots. I love carrots. My husband loves carrots. And then on the perimeter of this side is my cherry tomatoes. And you can see they're in there. And then that's my paste tomatoes. Those are on the end, and those shouldn't be there. Those should be on the other side. So I got a couple of my tomatoes mismarked, and I planted them in the wrong area, which is fine. They're still tomatoes, so they'll all grow. I just like to have everything organized. But these are all the tomatoes on this side. I have over 50 tomato plants. Look at those. That's a nice sized tomato there. A couple of them. Those are paste. I'm really happy with my tomatoes this year. They look really, really good. Oh, I got a red one right down there. Okay, I get to go harvesting as soon as this video is taped. And here's more tomatoes at the end. Look at those. Those are beauties. Got lots of them down in there. Lots and lots of them. This one's loaded. No wonder it's leaning over. Okay, and on the tail end of this, as we come back around to, you see my corn, there's my green beans. So this is on the other side of it. These are my cucumbers and pickles. And look how beautiful those are. They're looking really, really good this year. It's a hit and miss for me on cucumbers and pickles. Some years I do really well, and then other years I don't do anything. I can't get the plant to grow. There's some right there. So it's a hit and miss. There's some pickles growing right there. And this year it's a hit. So these are the beds of cucumbers here. And a lot of these, I got some really big ones here today. I need to pull those. I don't want those to turn yellow, they'll turn bitter. Okay, I need to pull today. That was quick. I pulled 2 days ago. And this is my pumpkin. And I have to come out here every morning and every night because I have a huge aphid problem this year. I've never seen it like this bad. They started out early, and I'm picking them, I'm squishing them, I'm taping the eggs, getting them off my leaves. And this plant actually looks good today. It doesn't have any aphids on it. There's my asparagus right there. But they've killed a lot of my pumpkin and squash plants this year. Aphids have. And I'm on the ball. I'm religious in the morning and I'm religious at night, picking up the vine and look under every leaf and plucking every one off. But what they call them, the root borers, aphid root borers, squash borers, they're getting down at the root system now. So I've been putting 7 dust on there and hand removing everything, and it's still not working. So anybody has any ideas on that, let me know. Okay, so we looked at these cucumbers. Those are the green beans. Those are all the potatoes back there. And I have 3 beds up front here of pickles and cucumbers. And oh my gosh, that one's huge. I bet that one's bitter. What happened there? They just went overnight. I came out here religiously and I pulled things. Wow, that got really big really fast. But these are the pickles and cucumbers. And again, you see my Bermuda grass in there? I had that cleaned out last week. Same here. And it's back. And I'm getting really, really frustrated with this grass. I do not like it. I don't want it here. But I also don't want to disturb my soil nutrients, and I don't want to kill the plant that's in the bed. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And then this one is a cucumber bed, but I have volunteer beets in here. I've already pulled 3 out here and gave them to my pigs yesterday, but you can see the root. These were volunteers. These were from last year, and this one's growing underneath the trellis, so I'm going to have to get that out of there. But these are really healthy this year. And I had bought bees in end of March. I had 3 hives delivered to me, and my bees are out here. I can hear them buzzing around in the flowers. But I'm going to be pulling these. Oh, look at the size of that guy. That's a huge, huge turnip. Look at that. They have to come out. At least now I know that I can plant these probably in February, March for them to come up, because they did really well this year. But we've had a wet spring. We've had more rain than we usually do. But we also had 105 degrees. Okay, so that's one side. Let's go over to the other side. Okay, these are my Amish paste tomatoes. All of these here. And then I have same thing up here. I have pickles up at the front. And I got most of these yesterday because I'm going to pickle today. But yeah, I got a lot of pickles this year. I don't grow just for myself. If you're wondering why I have such a huge garden, I grow for a friend of mine and his family as well. We used to be EMS partners 27 years ago. He's a little bit older than me. During the 2020 pandemic, it was hard to get fruits and vegetables at the store, so he knew I had a garden, so I ended up expanding my garden to grow more fruits and vegetables. That way I can share with him and his family, and at the same time he's learning how to grow food, because the stipulation is he has to start the seeds with me and he has to come out and plant the plants. Now, he can't drive out every day and weed and water and all that stuff, but I do the remaining. But he was there doing all these plants in the greenhouse. Got them all planted. And then when it's time, I call him when I have a harvest. So these are the tomatoes here. That's a big cluster there. Got a big cluster of tomatoes there. Now, this long bed, 110 feet, I lost my first planting of zucchini squash when we had a freak freeze April 20th. We had a hard freeze and it killed my squashes, which we'd never have here, and so that was something I wasn't expecting, but we ended up having a hard freeze overnight and it killed my squash, so I replanted. They came back up, and then I had the aphids come out, and the aphids were cutting them down at the root system. So I have them coming back now, but I have to keep up on it because they get in here and they just destroy my squashes. And I'm walking through my jungle of tomatoes. Got lots of tomatoes. So the squashes, same thing. I've put 7 dust at the root system. I come in every day and I look under the leaves to see if anybody's under there. Any eggs have been placed on my, see, and there they are. These survived it. I have half a row down here that survived it. And then nothing. So I don't even know what these are, if they're the acorn, the butternut, if they're the lemon squashes. I'm just going to be as surprised as you are when they pop up. So at the tail end of these tomatoes here are my pole green beans. These are the purple. These are starting to grow up the trellis now. So I have bush green beans over there, and I have pole green beans over here. And this guy seems to have reached out over to my tomato plants, which I don't want him to do. And then on the other side of my pole green beans and tomatoes, I have watermelons. So these are my watermelon plants. And I spotted a watermelon the other day in here, which I'm surprised it's that early, but it produced a watermelon already. I'll find it in a minute. It might be in one of those beds over there with the other watermelons. And then here we have another squash plant. And I got this one marked. It's not a watermelon. This isn't a watermelon. I don't know what this is, but I have to look under here all the time to make sure that I don't have any of the aphids on there. On this middle of the watermelons, I have a junk bed. I've just placed whatever extra I have in here. If I don't have room on one side, that I like to keep everything organized. Like I have my sweet potatoes, I have my pumpkins over there, I have my corn there, I have my green beans, I have my potatoes, I have my tomatoes, cucumbers over there, tomatoes, watermelon. I try to keep everything squash organized so that when I'm looking for something, I just know where to go. I mean, I don't like a garden of chaos, but yeah, I'm pretty well organized when I put my garden in. I map it out every year. I make sure I don't plant in the same place every year. I don't want, if one plant had a disease, stuff got in the ground, I don't want to be planting another plant there, the same plant, in that bed, because I'm just going to give that disease to that plant. So this is just my, I call it my garbage here. But it will produce. I got peppers. I had a lot of extra peppers. I think I have 12 in here, which I'm probably not going to be able to uproot because I lost about 3 peppers over in the pepper section. So I'm going to probably pull these up and move them over there. And then these are 3 tomatoes. And for the life of me, I don't know what they are. I don't remember. So that's a lesson to everybody. Label everything you do because you're not going to remember. I have the Charleston Gray, the Moon and the Stars, the Rattlesnake. I have all different kinds. And then there's one that's got a yellow flesh. I don't know what that is. But my bees are just buzzing around here right now. Nice to hear them because they're all in there doing their thing. These are pumpkins. These are, I call them my eating pumpkins, because the pumpkins that I'm growing over there are jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. They're not made to be eaten, make pies and stuff like that out of. Those are strictly for the pigs. They're not cooking pumpkins. These are the Long Island cheese and the Gerardel. Let's see if I can get that bee in there. So I'm glad I got my hives because my garden is buzzing with bees. If we swing here, I'm going to pop out here, over here. Those are the watermelons. Those are the pumpkins I just showed you. This is the bed of carrots that I'm slowly picking out of and preserving. I got to get this bed out because this bed and these beds here are now vacant. These used to hold all the onions. I did a video on all the onions I pulled out. So these have been fertilized, been composted. I got some cow manure in there. So I let it sit for a couple weeks and then I'm going to pull the carrots out. So all 6 of these beds here, I'm going to put corn in here because my corn over here, I will be probably harvesting it in the next 2 weeks. Got a lot of ears of corn on there. So once that's done, I want to be picking off of this stuff. So this is my next project. But I'm going to start my seed in my greenhouse in seed trays. I seem to do better with my corn when I start it myself in the greenhouse because I have grackles, I have lots of birds that come out here and then they just steal my seed, and then also sometimes we have days and days and days of no rain, weeks actually, and so even though I'm out here watering, it just doesn't seem to be enough to get my corn to sprout up. So when I do it in the greenhouse, make sure everything germinates, I get that, and that's what I want. I don't want spaces that corn is missing. I want healthy looking corn, and the only way I can do that is in my greenhouse. So we're over, and now we passed the onions. We're looking at my herb garden, and I'm going to be pulling all these out today. I'm going to be cutting these down to the ground, and I'm going to be sticking these in my freeze dryer and preserving my herbs for the year. I don't do herbs in the store anymore. I do my own. It's been like 10 years since I've actually used anything of a herb from the store. I do it all myself now. And a lot of this stuff like basil and the thyme I won't need to grow next year because after I harvest this year, I'll probably have enough to last me all through next year, so I don't have to waste my time and energy planting a plant that I don't need. Now we get over here, and I still haven't gotten those out. I just haven't had the time. I got too much stuff going on right now. So those are just going to have to stay. I'll probably take them out in the fall now because I don't need those beds. I'm not growing anything in those beds. Everything else I have a place for. These 2 I just don't need, but I will incorporate these into the garden plan next year so that I know what to plant in here. So I do have 2 beds, but I'm going to have to still assemble. I have 2 round metal beds that I haven't assembled yet, and then I have to move the dirt around because it's not in a complete circle anymore. This was probably the worst mistake I ever did was grow bags. They disintegrate, they get too hot, the plant roots just can't survive in there. And then if you try to weed eat around it, as you can see over there, it's spilled out, the bag just tears. So that was a waste of money for me. I will never do that again, ever. So now we're looking at our peppers. These are our peppers. I have all kinds. I have sweet and I have hot, and as you can tell here, I got bell peppers. I'm not saving the seed this year, so I'm not worried about cross-pollination. Something's eating that plant, but it keeps coming back, and it has a little red pepper on top. It's like its little sword trying to wave everything off so it can survive. So it started producing its leaves again, so hopefully that plant will make it. There's another pepper there. We got peppers here. Let me come to the end here and then I can come forward. And as you can tell, they're in different stages. This one was planted later than the taller ones. Same here. And then I have a squash plant volunteer in here. So I've got that squash sitting in my peppers. And this is a really, really tall pepper. I don't know what it is, but it's super tall. It's taller than everything else. And I'm looking at all the peppers here. They're all starting to look really good. They're starting to flower. And I have a jalapeno pepper already. Nice. Another one over there. Another jalapeno pepper. Here's more bell peppers here. Ah, look at that. Nice. So that's my garden. So let's go over now to the orchard area. And that's where my shed is, where I keep all of my garden supplies. I don't have to hunt everywhere now, it's all in one place. Okay, in this bed, this cage, it's 25 feet by, I think it's 9 feet. We bought this, it's a chicken run, we got it on Amazon. But I'm tired of the birds and the squirrels and the raccoons. They're getting my strawberries and my melons and stuff. So we built this. We're going to put long beds in here to protect those. But we had so much stuff going on this year that we didn't get to this. So we had this covered up because these are all my citrus trees that I pulled out of my orchard here. They weren't doing very well in this soil. This soil is really, really poor. Let me show you. So this is our soil. It's nothing. You can't even get your finger down in it. That's how hard it is. It has no nutrients. It doesn't hold water. So anything you grow in here, it just dies. So that's why I have a garden of raised beds. So anyway, we put these in here and we covered them up in the wintertime with a thermal blanket for the garden, and then we put a plastic over it, which was easy, and they all survived. But we do have plans for a 100-foot by 25-foot tropical greenhouse. We have all the supplies, we bought everything, we just haven't gotten to it. We decided to move another plan ahead of that, and that is finishing up my kitchen. Since we had our house built, we did the whole inside ourselves, and my kitchen is about 3/4 of the way done. So I had a choice, kitchen or my tropical greenhouse, and I decided I wanted my kitchen done. So we're going to start that today as soon as I'm done with this video. But they're okay in there. I just need to put more compost in there and fertilize them. But other than that, they're protected from the birds and stuff. And then in the wintertime, I'll just cover them back up until next year. And so here's my strawberries. This is another one of these, but smaller. So this is only 15 feet long. And we did our raised beds in here as well. Got lots of strawberries right now. I need to pluck those today too before the pill bugs get to them. Notice we got pill bugs in my strawberries right now, and I'm trying to get out here before they do and get them. And then I always come out here and I weed. I don't like weeds. But there's my strawberries. All looking really good. So it was a good decision to, they're all over there. It was a good decision to put them in their own place to protect them from all the animals. Because I wasn't getting many strawberries in the other place. There's a beautiful one right there. So, there's a cluster right there. Oh yeah, I gotta come out here and pull strawberries today. I gotta come out here with my basket and pull a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff to harvest today. Beautiful strawberry. Look at that one. So, we live in the country, South Central Texas, and anything you grow out here just rings the dinner bell for all the animals, the raccoons, the porcupines, the armadillos, the skunks, the coyotes, deer, foxes. They're all out here. So these are my sunflowers that I grew for my chickens. This is an experiment. I just put these beds out this year. I got millet here. As you can see, they're starting to do their thing. And I got sorghum over here. And I'm just seeing what I can do and how much I can grow for my birds, just to do a supplement. I know I can't grow everything for them, but I can at least try. And on the tail end over here, in between my orchard here, there's my chickens. There they are. And I throw them scraps over the fence every now and then. So let's go over and look at my berries. I love that view. I love looking at my shed and then my berry cage right there on this, runs along the side of my vegetable garden. So let's go ahead and look at those over there. Okay, we're at my berry cage. It's on the side of my vegetable garden. We built this. It's 40 feet by 15 feet out of scrap that we had around the property. But we built this to keep the grasshoppers from mowing down my blackberry bushes. I lost my blackberry bushes 2 years in a row to them. So we moved them into here. And this tiny little, I call it rabbit fencing. I don't know what everybody else calls it. But it's really tiny squares. You can barely get your finger in there. Bees get in, but grasshoppers get their legs stuck in that. Because they got little razor legs, get stuck in there. So as you can tell in there, they haven't been able to get in there this year. Okay, see what I got going on here. I got grapes on both sides as you come in. They're going up, and then I got some over there. So those are my Concord grapes. Now here is this side of it is blackberries, raspberries, blueberries. And then I have a miniature mulberry sitting in the back with miniature dwarf cherry trees. We're going to see about the cherry trees. I'm doing an experiment on that. But blackberries are looking really good. I got to come out here and pluck those today as well. I gave myself a day off yesterday. So let's take a look. Oh my, I got lots of blueberries over here too. So this is the blackberries here. So I'm going to have to come out here and start plucking all these blackberries off. Now I made a mistake. These are thornless here all the way down. And then 3 of them have thorns. And I was hoping not to get thorns because I wanted my grandbabies to come in here and pick off the vine without getting scratched. And as you can see, I got a whole bunch of those there. Lots of them. I have to come out here with a bucket today and pick these before it gets too hot. Now we put up a cattle panel on this end to get my raspberries off the ground. And as you can tell over here, they're overspilling. We need to buy one more cattle panel and then I can raise up my raspberries. But these are dwarf cherries over here. And we'll see. I mean, if they don't, they don't. But it says it's for my area. I'll believe it when I see some cherries. And then these are their miniature mulberries. This is their 2nd year. So they came back and they're growing nicely. And then, as you can see here, this flowered. And now look at the little cherries. I don't know if they're tiny or when do they get big. I don't know. But that's going to be my experiment. These are the blueberries. I'm having a problem with these guys. I don't know what happened to this bed. I'm just going to have to pull them out, I guess. See, I got a little green here, and that's why I'm a little leery of just taking them out. I'm thinking I'm going to chop them to the ground, dig them up, redo the soil, and then replant, and then just nurse it to see if it comes up next year. If it comes up next year, flowers, and gets leaves next year, then I'll keep it. But I always like to give my plants 1 year to see if they're really dead or not, or if they come back from the root ball. And then I got blueberries coming on here. And I have a rogue raspberry that's in my blueberries, and I'm going to have to cut him out and move him over. I'm going to add another bed down here so I can put these over there, so I'm not wasting the plant. And you got more blueberries coming in. This one, I'm surprised about. This one's doing very well. This is the pink lemonade one, and I got beautiful blueberries on there, if you can call them blueberries, pink berries. And this one here, got 2 of them, doing very well. And then we got more blueberries down this way. And then you can tell I got some on there. This is their 1st year in this bed. I moved them over, so hopefully they do well. This one I think I stressed moving it, but I do have some of it that's alive, so I'm just going to tend to it and fertilize it and water it. But that is my berries, so I have some harvesting to do today after this video, so let me go get started on that. Look at the size of that. I can't believe how big that is. Look at that beet. My pigs are sure gonna love that. Good morning, Lily. Look what I got. Oh, got beets for you. Are you gonna eat in bed? I hope you enjoyed this video today. Please like and subscribe and help me grow my channel. I am now at the 4-month mark of doing this. I hope I'm getting better and I'm giving you more content. But I'm coming out of my shell. I'm really a reserved person. We have solitude here and I like that. But I'm stepping out. So I hope you enjoy what I give you on my videos. But y'all have a good evening. Thank you.